So one of the biggest issues I'm seeing around Google Ads in 2026, time and time again, is not understanding the fundamentals of how to set up a Google Ad account, number one. And number two is the optimization that we need to do to get the very best out of our Google Ad account. So in today's video, I want to focus on how I recently audited a Google Ad account, and then that account actually became a client because the account was in dire straits. And I want to share some of what I found and how I've rectified that. So potentially you don't fall down those pitfalls for your Google Ad account. So about 2 weeks ago, I audited a Google Ad account in a number of campaigns of annual money. The budget was over $50,000 a month. So in 30 days, we were spending over $50,000. Now, one of the campaigns which I want to focus on was the issue was they were generating a few conversions over 30 days, but the budget was around $2,000 a day mark for this one campaign. When I initially went into the campaign, I look at the same type of things. I look at the optimization, I'm looking at the setup of the account, things that we should be doing. And then on top of that, I'm looking at the bidding strategy. So for this particular campaign, the issue was the bidding strategy. So they had a maximized conversion, which was fine because it's tapping into the automated AI for Google, smart bidding. But the issue was the maximized conversion strategy they're using was a target CPA. So the target CPA had been set for a figure of $100. The actual cost per conversion they were getting for that Google ad was actually set over $480. So what happened is the client had asked them to continue as an agency, but asked them to continually increase the budget. So as they were increasing the budget, the target CPA was still staying at $100, but the actual cost per conversion started off around $350, but had continually got away from them because they were increasing the budget. They weren't getting enough conversions through for the learning of Google AI as well. So we need to understand it. We need to generate a certain amount of conversions over a period of 30 days. So ultimately, we want 10 clicks a day. And on top of that, we want 30 conversions over 30 days. If we're not getting that, and potentially there's a problem, my question would be, why are we on a max conversion target CPA strategy if we're only generating a few leads? But it became obvious because as they were increasing the budget, what was happening? The actual cost per conversion or cost per lead it was costing them was becoming higher and higher. And because the target CPA was set at 100, they were literally suffocating the account. They weren't giving the account enough wood to really show for all of what it needed to do. So what I did to rectify this, I took the account and took it from a target CPA strategy back to just a maximize conversion. So what I'm looking to do now is to almost release the reins of the campaign. Let the campaign run and let it optimize freely without a target CPA, which was really restraining the account. This is one of the biggest issues I'm seeing. If you want to use a target CPA, that's fine. But whatever your cost per conversion is, add another 15-20% on top of that. Give Google enough room to really optimize your campaign. So you're setting the parameters, but then obviously Google's AI is working for you. But if you're setting your parameters too low, based on the data points, the nuances and the things that we need to understand with Google, then what happened? They were suffocating this particular campaign. On top of that, the other big issue was as they were increasing the budget, obviously the cost per conversion was getting higher. They weren't adjusting the target CPA, but also the keywords, the terms that they were targeting were all phrase. In one ad group, they had a 75 phrase match searches that are happening each and every month. And the problem with that, if you follow any of my videos, you'll know that if you don't add in Borg or add in the PMAX, your campaigns will not fully optimize using Google's AI. When I say optimize, you will not show in AI overviews. If you don't show in AI overviews, then you're massively restricting the amount of clicks, impressions, and also the maximizing and get for the budget that you're running for your Google ads. So these two simple tweaks, by adding in some board tabs, which is what I did, I reduced the number of phrases. And then what I did was started to add in exact terms. Now, the other issue was we didn't know exactly what terms had actually converted because everything was added in the phrase. You need to have an account with broad, which gives you the volume, or exact, which gives you the nearest variation to the actual keyword thing that actually triggered your ad. If you don't have this data, and how do you know what's working? How do you know what isn't working? So, number one, target CPA was set incorrectly. Number two, the bidding strategy, we had to change that. You then had to reduce the amount of terms that we were targeting. So we shrunk the campaign, kept it a little bit simple, added some broad terms, which then adds into AI overview to make sure that the budget that we were spending gets seen everywhere in the Google platform. And then as you cover, you add in the exact term. So this is the strategy that I've implemented into this campaign. Obviously, the budget I've asked them, we've reduced the budget quite considerably because there's no need to be very such a big budget if we need to optimize. What I've done is stabilize the account, made a number of changes, and what I was starting to see, it was starting to generate, interestingly, more clicks over a period of 10 days on a smaller budget than what we did on a previous budget. Why? Because we're optimizing the campaign, adding negative keywords, but adding in broad terms to give us the volume. The broad terms that we added in are at least 4 to 5 words that make a sentence, so long tail keywords. What that does, if you add in long tail keywords, it sends a signal to Google to give that better idea. You're prompting Google so it knows exactly what type of search terms that you actually want to generate based on keyword themes. If you give Google a word or 2 words, that's when you start to run into more problems with negative keyword G. Google doesn't really know. It kind of knows, but doesn't. And it will start showing your ads for a number of irrelevant terms. And that's when you've got to be on top of your keywords. You should be doing it anyway. But what we're doing on a daily basis, we're adding negative keywords or optimizing. We're making sure that that budget has been reduced from over 50,000 a month down to 30,000 a month. Still a healthy budget. We're optimizing. We're making sure that the money that's being spent is being spent in the right places. And just by changing some small tweaks, like changing the bidding strategy, taking it from a target CPA back to a maximized conversion, we'll let that run. We're starting to see more clicks. Why? Because we've unchained. We've taken away the target CPA. We've added in broad terms. We've added in the exact terms. And now I'm starting to see some of the terms that are actually firing me Google ads because they're adding in as exact. So we're starting to put our detective hat on and we're uncovering what's working. So just wanted to give you just a little bit of a conversation just to talk about some real life things that are happening right now and ways that we can potentially overcome these issues. And sometimes it's the advertiser, not so much the Google ads. So again, if you're running campaigns that potentially you're adding more budget, but the strategies that you've implemented, the optimization isn't going to work, then what's going to happen? Like with this campaign, we've seen clicks, impressions, and conversions all started to tank. So what I did, again, I'm looking at that, I'm looking back at the changes that were implemented, and then from there, I'm starting to uncover how we can unpick all these changes that have really kind of tampered the Google Ad account. And again, not so much just down to budget, it's down to the implementation to get the basics right. Understand the platform that you're working from. If you can understand the platform you're working from, then you'll get the maximized amount of conversions, the maximized amount of data for your money. If you can do that, you will run a successful Google Ad account. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to help your Google Ads, see, it is optimization. There's always optimizations. There's always things we can do for best practices in 2026. Just reach out, fill out the form below, and we can jump on it and we can audit your Google Ad account.